This is the moment we've been waiting for. Since the hours we gathered together on a night in November, painfully aware of the long fight ahead. Since the day we decided that we would not give in and grab the hand of our nearest neighbor and march to the streets. Since the moment millions joined the chorus to tell the world we would not stand for injustice against any one of us. We marched, we rallied, we fought, we steeled ourselves, and we rose up as corruption tore through the White House like a wildfire. We rose up as our country changed in ways that were unrecognizable, and we showed up for every single battle. While those at the top stoked the fires of division, each day Americans made the choice to come together. We are still in the streets, we are still fighting, knowing that what we fight for matters more than anything. And this is the moment we've been waiting for. This is our opportunity to reject the politics of hate, chaos, division, and change the course of history. This November, we have an opportunity to elect a leader who will join us as we build an America for all. The moment where we grab our family, our friends, and show up to change the world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Vote is Power in Action series. Woo! I have to clap for myself because I can't hear y'all, but good to see y'all. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Chris Percy, and I am training director here at Move On.
And I'm Reggie Hubbard. I'm Move On's congressional liaison and DC political strategist, as well as the host of Politics and Flows and some of our other live stream stuff.
So as you can see, we brought in reinforcements because Reggie is the top dog here. As people are joining from around the country, let's get to know one another. So please, in the chat, put your name, your first name, your pronouns, and where you are viewing this series from. Again, your name, your pronouns, and where you're viewing this series from. I will start. My name is Chris. I go by he, him, and I'm hailing from the West Side of Chicago. And I am so glad to be here with you. Reggie, do you want to tell us where you're from?
Reggie Hubbard, he, him, his, outside of Washington, D.C. and Maryland.
Okay, DMV. It's still all about Chicago. Okay, so whether it's supporting a candidate, fighting to pass progressive legislation, or working to change this world into one where we can all thrive, Move On members are committed to an inclusive and progressive future. So welcome to you, from whether you have already been a part of the Move On community and have been with us for years, or whether this is your first time and you're trying to figure out who are these people and what are they talking about. I am so glad that you are here with us tonight.
And we have a great program here for you tonight. And I'm looking at the chat. Thank you for noticing Marvin Gaye over my shoulder. That's the What's Going On album, which I think is appropriate to where we are in this moment in time. It's also Earth, Wind, and Fire because we need a little spirit in this piece, but I digress. We have a great program here for you tonight. We'll have Senator and future Vice President Kamala Harris on the show, Senator Cory Booker, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Andy Slavitt, and the Hulk himself, Mark Ruffalo. And we're here to talk to you today about how you can help get out the vote and ensure a landslide victory on November 3rd, and how we can do so in community, building the muscle memory of community care and community engagement rather than episodic voting and periodic paying attention.
I love when Reggie joins because he uses big words. So if you are in the chat, if you could just go ahead and let us know if you have already voted. I know for many of you around the country, you've already cast your vote, go ahead in the chat and let me know if you have already cast your vote this election season. All right, I see her. Okay, Charlie. Okay, all right. Let us know if you voted. Go ahead. Don't be scared. All right. So if you've already voted, you're here. Thank you so much for being here. But like, we also want to make sure that we extend this out to our friends, our families, to the folks that we used to talk to, the folks we don't talk to anymore. To well, I was going to anyway. So I was going to make a joke, but I'm not going to do that. But I am so glad you're here. But make sure that if you have a few people that you know probably have not voted yet, you can text power to 668366 to help get 3 of your friends to vote and to sign up to be a vote mobilizer. Again, you can text power, that's POWER, to 668366 to help get 3 friends to vote. Basically, what we're going to do, you're going to tell us who your 3 friends are, and we're going to remind you to remind them to go vote. So it's a low bar ask, but if you know 3 people, and we all know 3 people who we need to touch, go ahead and text power to 668366.
And we're here to talk, excuse me, to talk about the vote mobilizing program. And our vote mobilizers, they create a team of voters who they will commit to turn out the vote in November, which is next week, right? So we've been thinking about November as being far away, like November is nigh, right? So it's here. And vote mobilizers support each other of their vote team to either make a plan to vote and vote by November 3rd, which is election day. Or if you're in a state that has same day registration, getting people to register to vote as well, because there's still time in some places. And so we just want you to get your team together and convince 3 people to do the same.
Well, listen, if you are already a vote mobilizer, go ahead and let us know in the chat, okay? Because we want to shout you out. If you're somebody who have been on these calls and you're like, I've already got my 3 friends, your vote, let us know in the chat. And let me tell you, for those of you who are organizers and training on the call, let me tell you about what we're doing by this. What we're doing is we are celebrating you who have already done the work, and also empowering you to do more work, because we know that we want to make sure that by November 3rd, we have done all the things that we can do in our power to make sure that everybody that we know gets out and votes. So thank you to all of you who have already done the work. We appreciate you, but there's still work to be done.
Yeah, and thank you, Chris, for that reminder. And we are the ones who are, I believe we all were made for this moment. So do not be anxious, do not be afraid. We are here for one another in this moment. And I'd like to get the program started right. I'd like to introduce Rana Epting, MoveOn's Executive Director, who will set up the next segment in our program.
Thank you, Reggie. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes just for a moment, for real. Close them with me and go back in time. Go back nearly exactly 4 years ago, 11:45 p.m. on November 8th, 2016, and the moments, the minutes, and hours that followed as it set in that the election, by the narrowest of margins, had slipped away from us. That Donald Trump was going to be president. That history was denied. Remember that feeling in your stomach, in your head, in your heart? Remember the anger, the fear, the frustration? Remember it all. Remember it like it was yesterday. Now open your eyes and channel those feelings and repeat after me. We are not going to let that happen again. We have the power to make sure that doesn't happen again. All of us on this call and the tens of millions of people like us around the country. We have the power to end the Trump presidency, to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, to make sure Mitch McConnell is no longer the majority leader, to give House Democrats an even bigger majority. All of it. We, all of us, we have that power. But history does not write itself. We have to write it. And we have to work like we've never worked before over the next 9 days to write the history we want. For 4 years, We've marched, we've protested, we've written letters to Congress, we've made millions of calls, we've never let up, we've been vigilant. And in the last few weeks, we've sent letters to swing states, we've sent text messages, we've made phone calls, and now we need to finish strong. We need to write a different history. We need to ensure a different outcome from that fateful night 4 years ago. Your vote, our vote, it is our power. So if you haven't voted yet, please make sure you have a plan to do so, whether it's in person early, by mail, or in person on election day. Make your plan, prioritize it, and vote. If you've already voted, woo, thank you, and take the next step. Go make sure your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones, and everyone you know is voting. You can text POWER to 668-366 to get involved. We have that power. We are the majority. And now we need to make sure our voice is heard at the ballot box. And listen, I know things are tough right now, but I'm more optimistic than I've ever been in a long time. And here's why. I have never seen Move On members, progressives, and voters from coast to coast more fired up, more engaged, and ready to take our country in a different direction. And here's another reason why. Because I am confident that if we do our work, if we dig deep, if we work like we've never worked before, our power and our vote will mean our next speaker will make history in 9 short days. Senator Kamala Harris is a powerful and visionary leader, a lawyer, a senator, a mother, and a historic candidate, and soon to be MVP, Madam Vice President. I could not be more thrilled to welcome our next Vice President, Kamala Harris.
Hey everyone. Listen, I want to thank Move On for everything you are doing to get the vote out every year and this year. You know what's at stake in this election. Right now, all at once, we're experiencing a deadly pandemic, an economic crisis, a climate crisis, and a long overdue reckoning on racial injustice. And in the midst of this, we have a president who refuses to do his job, who stokes chaos and division, who fans the flames of racism and refuses to condemn white supremacists, who purposefully lied to the American people about the threat of the coronavirus and still does not have a plan to contain it. He is fighting in the Supreme Court to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and rip away protections from millions of Americans with pre-existing conditions, again, in the middle of a pandemic, all while jamming through a Supreme Court justice to help him do exactly that. But we can choose a better future, and that starts with electing Joe Biden. Joe has had a plan for COVID since March, and under his leadership, we will contain this virus, save lives, and build our economy back better than before. Joe will be a president who gives everyone a chance to get ahead, the middle class and working people. We will eliminate the Trump tax cuts for big corporations in the top 1%, and we won't raise taxes 1 cent on folks making less than $400,000 a year. And we will invest the savings in lower healthcare costs, better schools, protecting Social Security and Medicare, and reducing the cost of childcare for low and middle income families. Above all, Joe will be a president who unites the American people. He'll bring together Democrats and Republicans and independents, old and young, from all different races and backgrounds to meet the challenges of our time, to restore the soul of our nation. But we need your help. It's just a matter of days until Tuesday, November 3rd. So please text POLLS, P-O-L-L-S, to 30330 to find out where you can vote or return a vote-by-mail ballot. And sign up to volunteer at joebiden.com/events. And make sure everyone you know has a plan to vote. And please ask them to write down when, where, and how they will vote this year. Urge them to vote early if they can. Together, we can elect Joe Biden as our next president and begin building a better future for the American people. So let's get to work. Thank you, guys.
Sora Kamala Harris, congratulations on your nomination as the first African American Vice President nominee.
We are so proud of you. How fitting that the first Black woman to be nominated as a major party's VP pick is also a member of the first Black sorority.
We are so proud of you and all the work you have done this far, and all the barriers you have broken in the process.
You are teaching young girls to speak their minds, follow their purpose, and to let their voices be heard no matter what.
Thank you for being a role model to so many young Black women.
I've never seen myself, a Black woman, represented in the presidential election until now.
Your hard work, dedication, and commitment to public service shows any young girl that you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Sora, we know that they will work overtime to get inside of your head, paint you in a negative light, and mispronounce your name. But because you're a woman of Alpha Kappa Alpha, you and I know those silly tactics will not work.
Senator Harris, you have inspired millions of women, not only in America, but across the world, that a woman can be vice president.
As we know, the future is female, and Senator Kamala Harris is right on time.
I am proud to call you my Sora, and I am thankful that you're here to make change reality.
You're the ultimate example of service to all mankind, and we're cheering you on the whole way through.
Like the great Rosa Parks on November 3rd, take your seat, but in the White House, and don't get up.
Congratulations, Sora. We are so proud of you.
You're doing an amazing job.
I wish you all the best of luck in your race to VP. I am rooting for you. We're all rooting for you.
And I can't wait to see all that you do for us and our country. Congratulations, Sora.
And may God bless you.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Your words are informative and inspirational, exactly what we need to embody in this moment, or as the chat is saying, right on time. You know, the huge numbers we're seeing in terms of early vote totals are because we're all taking care of one another. We're holding space for sharing and holding one another accountable. You know, never has it been more important for us to devote our full attention to the moment and reach out to our networks, both in terms of the election and where we find ourselves on the calendar. Chris, what are you doing, man?
What you say, Rich?
I said we need to be paying full attention and like texting friends and getting people to vote. Like, what are you doing, huh?
Okay, well, see, you all up in my business. That's what I'm doing. I've texted my friends. I got my 3 peoples. Okay. Reminder, you can text POWER to 668-366 to get your 3 friends. I'm trying to find, you know, I'm a little challenged with the technologists, but that's what I'm doing right now, Reggie. You all up about sweating me.
Well, thank you for like listening to what I had to say. Well, I don't know if you heard what I had to say, but thank you for doing it like through intuition.
I can walk and chew gum. Thank you. Right. I mean, I don't remember anything you just said, but I can walk and chew gum. Yes.
Right. So,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to get my 3 friends.
So are you
but
done?
Again, yeah, I got them. That was real time, folks. That was real time. I was trying to get my friends. I literally was trying to text my 3 friends. Again, you can text POWER to 668-366 to help get 3 friends to vote and to sign up for the program. So I'm really imploring you all. I really did just take that moment right then to do that because I can't preach it to everybody else and not do it myself. And speaking of which, AOC knows exactly what I'm talking about. So take it away.
There is someone in your life that you have a very special relationship with. I guarantee it. You can get through to them in a way that maybe nobody else can. I need you to use your relationships. That's what we need you to do right now. Maybe you've got an uncle in Ohio. Maybe you've got family in Florida. Maybe you've got people that you know in Colorado or in a swing state or even not a swing or in Georgia or whomever. And the beautiful thing about politics is that a lot of it is relational. And we don't take it personally, but you know, I could make a point, and just because I'm me, there are people that will not listen to it just because I'm the one who said it, right? It's not the point. It's the fact that I said that point, right? There's someone in your life that maybe they won't listen to anybody else, but you can get through to them. I need you to use your relationships to get through and check in on people and making sure that they're stepping up and that they're doing the right thing and that they're not staying home on election night and that they're not giving their vote to Donald Trump. That's what I need you to do. So I need you to give your relationships. I need you to pick up the phone. I need you to message somebody. I need you to get through to that person that only you can get through to, that only you know how to talk to in your workplace, in your job, in your school, in your family, in your friends, whatever. I need you to do that.
Always blessed by the wisdom of my sisters in this beautiful struggle. Always blessed by the wisdom. Thank you, AOC, for being who you are in general, but thank you for what you offer to the space. We appreciate you, like for real, for real. And stick around. We still have Senator Cory Booker, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Andy Slavitt, and the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo, will be on. But right now, I'd like to introduce to the space Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. I've had the honor of collaborating with her and her brilliant staff since new member orientation in 2018, even teaching yoga and meditation to her staff last October, my first office. Always a bright light and a clarion call for justice, peace, and equality for all. We are honored to have you here with us tonight.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, Chris. Hi, Reggie. Hello, family. It is so good to be in virtual community at this virtual table with activists and community builders and co-conspirators. Thank you all for tuning in tonight and for everything that you are doing to ensure that we take back this White House. So we have, 9 days?
9, yeah.
9 days, right? Yeah. So election day is right now, right?
That's right.
And even after November 3rd, we never stop organizing because what we're fighting for is a more equitable and just world. So I just thank all of you for caring about your neighbor, our community, our democracy. Thank you for laboring in love. I think people often get it very confused, what compels us in this work as movement builders, as people committed to a progressive movement, and it is just radical love. So thank you all for your radical love and for your sweat equity.
Thank you for yours as well. And so let's just dive into it, right? So if people watching have already voted, Congresswoman, what are some other ways that people can help right now? So, some people will be like, I've already voted. Like, what else can people do if they've already voted? What would you offer for that?
Well, friends don't let friends not have a plan to vote. So I know Chris has been challenging people to create their own personal challenges of engaging 3 more people to make sure they have a plan to vote. There is, I think Representative Ocasio-Cortez speaks to this very effectively, that there's going to be that person that only you can reach. And so don't make assumptions, because one of the things that, we've seen recently is that, a lot of times people that you do engage with regularly, and they may have even been telling other people to go and vote, they were not doing it themselves. That's what we just saw in Snoop Dogg. He didn't vote because he did not know as a parolee that it was within his right to vote. So there are a lot of people that are disenfranchised because of a lack of enfranchisement by education. So don't make assumptions just because somebody's in your social circle or your friend group and in your phone book, in your phone, that they already know what to do. So, there's someone that only you're going to be able to reach. So make sure that people have a plan and that they understand the stakes of this election. This is not just a talking point, that this is the most consequential election. Yes, every election has consequences. We have lived under the gravity and the weight of those consequences for the last 4 years. But some elections are more consequential than others. Yeah. And that is true for this one. So the failures of this administration are on the ballot. Everything we care about, climate justice, healthcare justice, economic justice, racial justice, that's all on the ballot. The vote right now, Reggie, is the resistance and it's the affirmation. It's the resistance of, callousness, cruelty, and corruption. And it's an affirmation of justice in every iteration. I'm not into shaming people into voting. I want people to feel inspired, compelled, motivated. And so the other thing is, just to bring my sister into the room again, since she was just, a part of this virtual convening, I think Representative Ocasio-Cortez gets it right as well when she says, we are at this point electing who we are going to lobby. So, stand in that. This is self-agency. This is self-determination. This is the resistance. So we are quite literally electing who we are going to lobby, who we are going to organize with. So we have to dig deep for these next 9 days. Make sure you vote, make sure everyone, or at least 3 people within your proximity and circle of influence, that they have a plan to vote and they vote. And then here's the thing, Reggie, after November 3rd, the work doesn't end. I think that's a lot of the problem, is that, people have sort of thought this was just a transactional, okay, I cast my ballot and now I'm done. No, this is the work of transformation.
Yeah.
If you look at the states that have become battleground states, Texas, Georgia, Mississippi, that's not because of this election cycle. That is because of the work of progressive organizers for a very long time that have laid that foundation. So we don't just organize for a cycle. Reggie, Chris, we're organizing to build community, we're organizing to build power. And in this moment, it's all going to yield.
That, first of all, Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here. I would, fan out, but I'm not, because we on a schedule, as they say.
We're family. You don't fan out.
And there were some things that you pulled out and touched on that, myself as training director and some of the folks on the team has been really going in. I would love to ask you for any advice on how to have these conversations with your friends and family, right? So it's one thing to say, hey, y'all go vote, right? And we know that, which is what I did. We ain't gonna talk about how that turned out, but it's one thing to be like, hey, y'all go vote. But how do you actually, what is some advice that you have for folks who actually want to have a substantive conversation with their loved ones about getting out to vote?
Okay, I so appreciate that question, because we're in this work, it's important that we make it accessible and it doesn't feel like this abstract thing. And also, y'all, folks are tired. And I think we have to meet people where they are and acknowledge that. You can't try to talk people out of their pain or their trauma. So what I do is it's the same way we organize. In our campaign, before we asked anyone for a vote, we asked them about their life. So to me, in talking to family and friends about what's on your mind, what's keeping you up at night, what do you care about? And then what I'll say to them is, okay, so you need to vote your condition. If what's keeping you up at night is this pandemic, vote this condition which you want to improve, because you know that low income and marginalized communities are being disproportionately impacted, right? So that's really how I've tried to engage people. And the other thing is the acknowledgement of people don't vote because they're ignorant or apathetic and just don't know any better. They don't vote because, not that they don't know enough, but they know too much. And it's informed by their hardship and their lived experiences. And so I think, again, I'm not into shaming people into voting, and I'm not going to try to talk somebody out of the deficit of trust they might have. What I want to do is just enfranchise them that this is nothing passive. This is the resistance. If you are feeling helpless, if you want your condition improved, this is, again, it's about self-agency and determination. So I think it's just about meeting people where they are.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's so important. We've been trying to drive that home because, quite honestly, over the last several months, that has been one of the top questions that we have gotten from people. How do we actually engage? There's such a fear around talking. Everything is so polarizing right now. It's a fear to have those conversations, even sometimes with people who you would assume are on your quote unquote side of things. Yeah. So thank you so much.
We can't make any assumptions. I often use this phrasing around, I might be preaching to the choir, but I do that because I need the choir to sing. That's the point. So that's why this table is so important, because for these next 9 days and beyond, I want people to be fortified. In the next 9 days, they have to be singing about what is at stake in this election, because everything is on the ballot. That is not hyperbole. That is real. Economic inequality has been worse than under this administration. A global pandemic because of the willful criminality and science denials of this administration. Right? And then the only thing the coronavirus could not kill, structural and systemic racism. Right. So, look, we don't know that everything we want, we will accomplish under a Biden-Harris administration. But what we do know is nothing that we want will be accomplished under a Trump administration. So far as I am concerned, this country, and certainly not marginalized folks and Black Americans, forget 4 years. We can't afford 4 more minutes. We can't afford 4 more minutes.
You're right.
And thank you for that wisdom as always. Just bringing this to a close, like, so what are you seeing right now in all the virtual community spaces that you inhabit and that you visit? What are you seeing right now that you're excited about and gives you hope in this moment?
Yeah, the pandemic has been devastating, and it certainly has laid bare and exacerbated many of the inequities, disparities, and racial injustices that already existed, by the way, which were not naturally occurring, okay? It's policy violence over generations, and policy is my love language, which is another reason why I'm committed to this ticket, because of the policies that we'll advance together, their partnership. But what's giving me hope in the midst of this pandemic and unprecedented hurt is the unprecedented community. Just the collective care and the mutual aid and people just being intentional about pouring into each other. And then the other thing is, have y'all seen that video online from our siblings in the movement, WFP, the souls, the joy at the polls, folks,
Yes.
Line dancing and doing all of that, Now here's the thing, like, this shows really, again, the resilience of marginalized communities and those who they seek to intimidate and suppress from voting, that we celebrate the resilience that we're willing to stand in line for 6 to 8 hours, but that is suppression happening right in front of you. Because no one should have to wait 6 or 8 hours. But in the same way that when Black folks were enslaved and they gave us the scraps and we made it into culinary delicacies and delights. So in the midst of that suppression, we said, okay, you will not rob me of my joy. I will cast this ballot and I will do it joyfully. And so that's what's giving me joy in this moment. A reporter asked me yesterday, well, the militia groups are making threats and this and that. Are you afraid? I said, do you know my ancestors? No, I am not afraid. I am not afraid. So that is what's giving me joy and hope. The thing that always gives me that, the community, the radical love that's on display every day in the face of all this. We've taken good care of one another. We really have.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's in that spirit of radical love that I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, like everything. Nothing but love for you, sis. Like,
thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
All right, choir, sing.
Okay, because I was about to. I felt church. I was like, this will be different. Let's go turn this stuff off.
My next speech.
Yeah, sing choir. Yeah, that's right, because your vote is your power.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I'll see you. Take care.
Blessings. Thank you very much. And so I want everyone to reflect on what Sister AP said, and that we don't shame people into voting, right? We relate to them. Like, this is about community. This is about shared experience. This is about just the way that we relate to one another, right? So just thank you again to Congresswoman Pressley and her staff for just the wisdom and for the beautiful sharing in community at this important time. And so next week is our last week, and we'll have even more special guests. So RSVP at moveon.org/power in action to make sure that you don't miss it.
But for today's program, we still got Senator Cory Booker, Andy Slavitt, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Mark Ruffalo is coming up. So stick around to the end of the program. Now let us hear from one of our amazing Move On members who help make everything we do happen here at Move On.
There are a lot of reasons why I'm motivated to do the work that I do with Move On. We need to fight for our rights as gay people, but we also need to fight for the rights of any other type of minority that needs their voices heard too. That's why I'm so impassionate about being a part of Move On and a part of this political movement of everybody having their rights and their voices heard. If you speak with confidence and if you speak with conviction, your voice can resound in people's lives, and it can be a tool to help people think in ways that they may not have thought earlier, to open people's minds. The work I'm currently doing with Move On is vote mobilizing and supporting the vote mobilizers. that involves calling vote mobilizers in different battleground states and asking them if they've created their vote team. A vote team is a group of 10 people that you are leading to the polls. You contact your 10 people and you make sure that they're registered, and you make sure that everybody on your voting team knows when they're voting and how they are voting. Then you make sure that they have a ride to either drop off their mail-in ballot or to the polls. You just follow up with them and make sure that they actually went and voted. It's more like a ripple effect. You're the drop of water, and then you create your 10 people, and then hopefully they will talk to 10 people and 10 people more, so we can get more people in our circle. And I think that's something that Move On does really well, is try to keep everybody in the same circle together. It helps us to feel as a team and a family, and that's what I like about Move On. My vote team includes a lot of my friends here in Florida, which is a battleground state, but I also have some people on my vote team that are back at home in Montana, which is also a battleground state. It's really exciting to have a lot of my team in different battleground states to be able to get out the vote and get a Democrat elected. How I'll be working with Move On to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris this November is calling as many people to make sure that their vote teams are set up and mobilize as many people as possible. I support Biden and Harris because they are for the people. They really want what's good for this country, and they want to unite everybody back together. With the past administration, we have become more divided and more divisive against each other. What gives me hope in 2020 is all the kind-hearted people coming together to create a change that this country desperately needs.
Right. Well, first of all, I'm so happy that Congresswoman Pressley came, and we had such a great time, and it was so dope that she shared with us. And that Reginald, what are you doing?
First of all, my mama don't call me Reginald, so who are you? Second of all, man, look,
wow,
I'm about to get these texts going, man. You did your 3. It's time for me to do my 3, homie. You know.
Okay, but see, when I was doing my 3, you had something to say about it, and you were trying to call me out. All these people looking at us and stuff, and you just trying to call me out, and now you're gonna do it.
Let's just say I've seen the error of my ways, and I want to use use our time maximally to get the vote out.
Okay, well that's cool. All right. Well, again, for those of you who have just joined, if you've already voted, and if you're not voted, 1, make sure you vote, but 2, you can text POWER, that's POWER, to 668366 to help get 3 friends to vote and sign up to be a part of the program. I am so excited for you all to do this. It is not just for each of us to vote, but it's for all the people we know to get out to vote. So we want to touch our friends, families, loved ones, even people you don't like. Make sure they vote. Okay, if you don't like them, that's fine. We can like you until November 3rd, and then on November 4th, we can go back to not liking each other.
I'm almost done. One more person.
Oh, okay. While you're getting that one more person, I would like to introduce.
Bam.
Oh, you got it done? Bam. I would like to introduce 2 of my favorite people, Senator Cory Booker and Dom Leon Davis, for a quick conversation. I am so looking forward to hearing them talk to us tonight. Dom?
I'm here with Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey, and I'm going to do a full disclosure that I used to work for Senator Booker. If you can see above me, there is a poster from the 2020 presidential campaign. It was one of the greatest honors of my life to work with you, Senator Booker, and I'm going to try to keep this real informal. I know you like to just kind of, speak from the heart. So
absolutely. In fact, if we're going to make it informal, I'm taking a high, man.
Do it. I that's how I know it's real.
Right.
So I would actually venture to say that this is probably one of the most important elections of our life. So
definitely.
Yeah. And so I want to ask you, what do you say to folks who are having conversations with their families or with their friends, hearing from folks who just don't want to participate in the process because they say that it doesn't do anything for them and their people?
Well, I guess in the context of this election, I've had some candid conversations with people. So I don't know if I'm going to vote. Well, you're pro-Trump. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, doing nothing is being complicit in the status quo. And you're pro-Trump. In fact, if in 3 cities, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Philly, if they had the same just black turnout as in 2016 as they had in 2012, Trump would have never gotten elected. And so people don't understand that by doing nothing, that is a political action. It's not protest. It's more like a surrender to the status quo. And so that's the first thing I say to folks. And if you're a person of color, the other thing that's like interesting is like, because I know from the intelligence information, we see the Russians targeting black people to try to discourage them from voting. So you are basically you're being complicit in playing into all those folks, all those forces of darkness, I would say, that are trying to stop you from voting. Why would you do that? If you weren't so powerful, they wouldn't be working so hard to stop you from using your power. And so, God, apathy, I just don't understand. When it may not be a life or death issue for you, but it's a life or death issue for lots of Americans. Let's start with those Americans with pre-existing conditions. Let's start with those Americans who end up in emergency rooms every year because they can't afford their prescription drugs. They ration their insulin. You may be privileged enough not to think that this election is not life or death for you, but at least have the empathy and compassion to know that the outcome of this election is going to be life or death for somebody. If anything, man, I just would ask people who are voting to not stop there, because you have people in your life that are not voting, and you should take responsibility for carrying some of my message. Or maybe I'm not being polite enough. Whatever message you think will work on your family or your friends, you should be posting on all your social media platforms. Like you will influence those people around you. It's just too urgent. There's too much on the line.
Absolutely. And I want to expound upon something you said here. Specifically around like the misinformation targeting, especially Black men. What do you say to young Black men who may feel like, politics and the political process has done nothing for them? Or what is at stake here?
I got to extend some empathy there, because you grow up in that environment where you have seen a world that treats you differently, where you've encountered conditions, whether they be environmental injustices in your neighborhoods, whether it is underfunded schools in your communities, where you begin to believe that this sort of nihilism or this sort of feudalism is futile to try to fight back. And I can empathize with that point of view, but it's just so wrong. I mean, right now, I know if we get majorities in the Senate, House, and the White House, for your children, paid family leave, universal child care, for your friends, raising the minimum wage, all of these things will make a material difference in your life. I mean, there are so many things that I know in my neighborhood. I live in a majority Black city, in a Black community, and I see the folks in my neighborhood. Should we win this election, one of the first things we'll be able to do is get unemployment benefits into the pockets of many people, I'm sure, in your community. We'll be able to get stimulus checks again to help get our economy going, help hospitals and schools and first responders. These are the things on the ballot. And I guess, Dom, what I try to do is I try to just explain it to folks. I try to break it down to something that they can relate to. And again, try to get them to utilize their power. And I just think that the forces are trying to drive people into cynicism or apathy. And that is the most dangerous threat to a larger movement for change.
I think you were so right there. We're running a really successful campaign here at Move On. We're asking people to text the word power to 668-366 is a pledge to actually have a conversation with just 3 of your friends and getting 3 of your friends to vote.
Hold on. That's a great thing to encourage people to do, Dom.
Yeah. I mean, we are seeing that the power of these personal conversations with our friends and family really go a long way and have made a really huge impact in getting people out to vote.
So hold on, I text power, POW.
Text the word power to 668-366.
talk to 3 friends, because I think people sometimes you just got to break it down for us. Like when you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, one of my mentees voted, but did the other one vote? And you made me think through, like, who would I reach out to? This is a really constructive thing, and I'm hoping people follow through and just have the conversation, because I'm now thinking, because of course all my social media vote, everything I'm doing is telling people to vote, but I should think constructively about people who may or may not have done it. That's a really good exercise.
Yeah, we're seeing.
Will you commit to that, man, Dom?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm.
You got an uncle? You got a cousin, man?
Believe it or not, I have an uncle actually in Detroit who I need to check up on, because him in voting in politics is a little iffy. He's my dad's brother, and I'm not exactly sure if he's voting.
You got to text me his number. Let me call the brother up.
Okay.
You have my cell?
I do. I'll send you his info.
Send me his info, because I want.
Yeah, for sure. We got to make sure everyone in our families votes.
Just for the next 10 days, man. Just call people.
10 days. That's all we got to do. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Text me your uncle, man. Text me your uncle.
I will. Thank you, Senator.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Booker, thank you, Dom. We're about to bring on Speaker Pelosi and Mark Ruffalo, but before that, let's welcome back Ronna Epting, Move On's Executive Director.
Hi all, it's me again, Ronna. I just want to say this has been amazing. Are you fired up? Are you ready to sprint across the finish line? Are you ready to do all you can in the next 9 days? Has anyone texted a friend to vote yet since we've been on this call? Come on, let's do it together. Everyone text one friend right now. Text someone and remind them to vote. Make sure they're voting. I'm going to text my friend Marie. Have you voted yet? When are you going to vote? All right, everyone should do this right now. And it doesn't stop there. Commit to get 3 of your friends to vote. Text POWER, the word POWER, to 668-366 to get involved, and we'll help you out, okay? So now that we've heard from one amazing historic woman, it is time to hear from another. It is my honor to introduce the one and only Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Speaker Pelosi is a tireless fighter for justice, for equal pay, for workers, for healthcare, for the environment. She is a force of nature and someone who has stood up to Donald Trump time and time again. 2 years ago, we had calls just like this to turn out the vote in 2018 to make sure Leader Pelosi would once again be Speaker of the House. And 2 years ago, we turned out in historic numbers to deliver the largest Democratic victory since Watergate and return Nancy Pelosi to the Speaker's chair. It's what we need to do again, but we need to do the House and the Senate and the presidency. And we need a historic turnout. We need another historic victory. And we need to once again show our power, once again show our country can and must go in another direction. And give Speaker Pelosi a bigger majority so she can work with President Biden to pass needed legislation to turn this country around. So please please join me in welcoming Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Ronna. It is an honor to join Move On and bring greetings from our House Democrats. We're in the final 9 days of the most consequential election of our lifetime, an election that is about nothing less than taking back the soul of America. Everything is at stake, from crushing the coronavirus to advancing racial justice and voting rights, to expanding access to health care and good-paying jobs, to combating the climate crisis. Republicans may have their endless dark money. They may try to cheat, steal, and suppress our vote. But you know what we say, we don't agonize, we organize. Because we have the determination to win and the energy of the grassroots. You, our VIPs, our volunteers in politics, our very important people. Keep organizing, keep making calls and talking to voters. Your vote is power. Exercise your power and get 3, 4, or 5 friends to vote. Every voter you reach will bring us closer to victory. Together, we will strengthen our House majority. We will take back the Senate for the American people, and we will elect Joe Biden president and Kamala Harris vice president of the United States. Thank you for your continued hard work and leadership. Onward to a great Democratic victory.
Thank you, Speaker Pelosi, for your wisdom, your example, and your reminders about how it takes all of us to do this important work in the world that we want to live in. So one of the unique strengths of Move On is that we have relationships in such strength with elected officials such as Speaker Pelosi and Ayanna Pressley, and with grassroots activists like you. So shout out to the chat. Thank you all very much for being in attendance. So shout out yourselves in the chat. Round of applause if you're still here. And it's this connection with the grassroots and elected officials that not only makes a difference over the course of the next 9 days, but will make a difference for the work that remains ahead.
So, man, all I got to say is that I'm so excited for this next guest because I am a huge Avengers fan. And I love the Hulk. So I would like to introduce Mark Ruffalo, Michael Crawford, and Olga Nunes for a conversation. Right? Oh, this is going to be, I'm ready. Take it away.
All right, folks, we are especially excited today to be joined by Mark Ruffalo, actor, activist, Move On member, incredible Hulk, incredible person. Mark, welcome. We're super excited to be chatting with you today.
Thank you, Crawford, Mr. Crawford, and thank you, Olga. It's great to be here, and I love you guys, and I'm honored.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're honored to have you because you are popping up all over the place. I mean, you were recently connected to an Avengers for a Kamala live stream, which was absolutely amazing. And, I'm not going to fanboy, but I am a huge Avengers fan. So how is it that you were able to pop up everywhere? And what do you think are the most important points and the most important stories that you're seeing and telling people to encourage them to vote?
So I don't want to wake up November 3rd and think to myself, was there anything that I could have done to push this forward? Because it's that meaningful to me. I mean, I got 3 kids, they're coming up in a world that is not promising to them, whether they're dealing with climate change, whether they're dealing with, a jobs crisis, whether they're dealing with, inherent systemic racism, which hurts everybody. It isn't, it hurts everyone in the society. And so there's a commitment, but it's also the years I've been doing this and all the relationships I've made. So I've just been going to where I'm supposed to go. As far as the stories that are being told, when Jacob Blake was shot in his back 7 times in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin. I was distraught. I'm like, what do I do with this? And I was just like, I'm going to do a live stream with the activists there, an IG live with the activists there, and let's hear their experience. They were throwing this block party, and they were feeding people and giving haircuts and doing COVID tests and signing people, getting people to fill out the census and signing people up to register to vote. And they were dancing and they were celebrating, and it was freaking beautiful. And I just mostly listened to them. And when you listen instead of talking to people, you start to hear the story of America come out like sifting for gold. It starts to rise to the surface. And that story is, we want fairness, we want safety, we want to be kind to each other, we want community, and it doesn't matter where it's happening. And so I thought, let's start this, me and Mondale Robinson, we're like, hey, why don't we do a call out to people on social media and ask them to state the America they want to be living in? And, we got, hundreds of videos and thousands of texts of this version of America. And the idea was that Biden might not be your ideal, but Biden offers possibility when Trump offers impossibility. All we hear from Trump is, it is impossible to do anything for the coronavirus. It is impossible to do anything about racism. It is impossible to do anything about helping people. It is impossible, impossible, impossible. It's always somebody else's fault, right? It's impossible to do anything about climate change. Biden offers possibility across the board on every. It is possible to do something about climate change. It is possible to do something about racism and take steps towards anti-racism. It is possible to do something about the police violence, and so we're being offered these two totally different choices, and the moral person says, I have to take the path that offers me possibility. And so with Biden, we can. And that became the With Biden, We Can campaign. And it's been really moving because it's been the sweetest thing I've seen in this really brutal, ugly, horrible election cycle of nothing but negativity, mostly, except for what the young people and people like Move On are producing. And really what the message was across the board was kindness, gentleness, and equality for all of us. And that's the story of America, how we get from here to there.
That is ridiculously moving. And I think, you saying that you don't want to look back and know that you could have showed up more. That like there are no regrets. I was watching this like AOC video the other day that she posted on her IG live, and she was like, leave it all on the field.
That's right.
And I think that's what we have to do right now. And talking about like Biden offering up possibility, I think that one of the things that we're experiencing right now is this failure of imagination. We have, right? We have like basically this constant like drip of sort of toxic news happening from Trump, where he just feels like he's shutting doors in every direction for Americans everywhere. And I think people are starting to lose that sense of hope and optimism and imagination that things could be better. And I'm curious, like, if you could speak a little bit more around that, around what's giving you hope right now, around how you feel like we can, maybe inspire a little bit more of people being able to imagine that future that we can build together.
Yeah, Trump's brand is cynicism and chaos. So there's nothing there, unless you think you're going to get rich. And so, but what it's been amazing, the level of organizing that's happening. We're breaking records on the Democratic vote in every swing all over the nation. I mean, we are freaking crushing it. And people are staying there, and they're happily standing in line as a celebration of their voice in this democracy. The propaganda of the right is to tell us that we don't matter, that Black votes don't matter. I see it now. I mean, it's just so much misinformation on Facebook, right? Black votes don't matter. Latin votes don't matter. My vote doesn't matter. Even like, I'm not going to vote because I'm not going to join this horrible racist system. Whatever messaging they're using, they know they're using it because our votes are so valuable that they know that by taking it away, we lose. But that ain't happening this time around. And that's giving me hope. We are turning out everywhere. We are going to turn, you know what? I swear to God, I might be totally wrong, but I see. All I got to say is be on the winning team, guys, because we are the winning team. Go out and be part of this movement so you could say you were part of history. We are going to change this country, and we're going to do it with this election, and we're going to do it in the next election. And we are not stopping until we get what we deserve as a people.
Okay, I gotta say, after that, Mark, I am super excited, super pumped about voting. I already was because I just vote all the time anyway. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you,
Mark.
Michael. Olga, nice meeting you guys. It was so nice to be with you for this special time. And too bad the three of us can't go together and vote.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Thank you again for joining us, Mark, and sharing your passion and excitement around voting.
All right. Right. Thank you so much, Mark Ruffalo. That was dope. I get made fun of saying dope, but I'm so appreciative of him making time for us, and I really appreciate you coming through today, Mark. And listen, if you are still with us, please put in the chat that you are still here. I want to see it. I've been reading the chat this last few minutes, and it's been interesting. So if you're still with us, go ahead and just let us know that you're still with us. Okay. While you are saying that, for those of you who are watching, okay, you done seen both me and Reggie pull out our phone. Now, if we could pull out our phone in the middle of a live stream with thousands of people watching, you can pull out your phone at home and it's just you. So pull out your phone and you can text POWER, that is POWER, to 668366 to help get 3 of your friends out to vote. Again, pull out your phone. I can see you. I mean, I imagine, well,
I can sense you,
but
right? I can feel it.
I can
right.
sense you. I can feel, yeah, that's it. Pull out your phone, text POWER to 668366 to help get 3 friends out to vote. Remember, it's not just enough for us to vote ourselves. Especially a lot of you who are here have already voted. It is important, imperative, and powerful to make sure that we get our friends, our family, our loved ones, and others to get out and vote. So thank you all. I see in the chat that you are still here, that you are going to be going on your phone and texting. I would like to bring back Olga and introduce Andy Slavitt and Lillian Malfavon. Thank you. Come on through.
We're joined by Andy Slavitt, who served under President Obama on Medicare and Medicaid, has worked on healthcare.gov, is one of the foremost thought leaders on how we and our governments are responding to the pandemic, and currently hosts a successful podcast called In the Bubble. In the past year, you were one of the first voices to speak up about COVID and how the current administration has basically failed on taking care of us. Do you think that voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would change people's experience of their lives during this pandemic?
Oh, I do. No question about it. Donald Trump's divided our society. I think one of the things that clearly Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to do is they want to basically help us get our society back, our culture back, our belief that we are all equal and worthy. In Donald Trump's world, to get health care, you have to deserve it. In his mind, you have to be worthy of it. That is the very stark vision of the person that's in the White House right now, and he will be there unless we all vote him out. And by the way, he's trying to think about it this way. All the effort and energy that he is spending trying to prevent you from voting. Why would he do that? And I know the people who are watching this, they don't take stuff like that lying down. They're not going to take that line down. They're going to take that as a challenge and say, you don't want me to vote? I'll get up at 4 a.m. You don't want me to vote? I'll wait in line. You don't want me to vote? I'll go get my friends and neighbors to vote. So he needs to be shown.
I think that's real. And I just want to point out that the current title of this live stream right now is Try and Stop Us. So I completely agree with you.
Try and stop us.
So I wanted to shift a little bit. I had been listening to your latest podcast, and I was listening to the clip that you had at the beginning of the episode where you talked about how COVID-19 could be the ultimate pre-existing condition. And I was wondering if you could talk about that and what it means in our current healthcare system, and maybe a healthcare system if the Republican administration were to stay in charge.
Well, we don't think that way about COVID because, for many, particularly younger people, my son's 22, he's had COVID. Fortunately, he didn't have symptoms. He didn't get very sick, but we don't know all the ways that COVID will impact him. One of the things that we do know is that the Trump administration is trying to get rid of the ACA right now. And the only way to stop him is to put in a president from the Democratic Party and a Senate from the Democratic Party. If that doesn't work, then guess what happens? We go back to a time when every insurance company could decide whether or not they wanted to insure you, how much to charge you. And if you were a woman, they charged you more. If you were a little bit older, they charged you more. Or they didn't have to offer you insurance at all. And if they offered you insurance, they didn't have to cover your pre-existing conditions. So now take it back to COVID-19 and think about, what do we know about it? It potentially affects your heart, your lungs, your brain, your kidney, your pancreas, your toes, your nose, your smell. So 10 years later, let's say that let's say you just get asthma. Let's say you get a heart arrhythmia. Maybe it's related, maybe it's unrelated, but you've had COVID before. The insurance company can just decide not to cover you. Essentially, our whole body is a pre-existing condition, according to the insurance companies with COVID.
We were just talking before you came on, Andy, about how both of us have had COVID already. And, the idea that these systems are basically being like wielded against us by Republicans right now. Terrifying is not the word. Angering is definitely, like, I think something that is causing rage.
Let's use that anger. Try and let them stop us.
Yeah, I think that's right. And last time we talked, Andy, it was way back at the beginning of the pandemic. And I think that, one of the questions that we asked you was about resiliency. I think that things are really different right now. And I'm curious if you have any perspective or advice.
Sure. These times are hard. A lot of us have parents and grandparents and great-grandparents that went through and beyond, that went through very hard times. And some came here as slaves and fought for their freedom. Some came here as immigrants with nothing. Some maybe lived here longer, but they lived through a Great Depression, which was 10 years long, a World War, which is 6 years long. My grandmother came here as a little girl by herself on Ellis Island, and then she lived through all those things. She lived through World War II. They had to ration coffee. She didn't have coffee for 2 years. If I couldn't have coffee for 2 years, I'd be a basket case. I would, if I don't have my, Starbucks or whatever it is, my dark roast or my light roast or whatever it is, so we're so used to having so many more things, and it's hard. But in the context of sacrificing a little bit, we have to ask ourselves, why are we doing it? And we're saving people's lives, because until you have a vaccine, the only medicine you have is what kind of care you take of one another. How do you feel about that person you've never met? That person you walk by in the street, are they a stranger or are they a member of your community? Do you care or do we not care? And what's interesting is we have a leader right now that absolutely doesn't care. He thinks it's a game. He thinks wearing a mask is a symbol. And I would say a lot of us feel this anxiety and tension and stress because we have a leader that will not validate that what we're going through is real. He's telling us that what we're going through is no big deal, that he doesn't care.
I think the call to empathy is extremely important. Just the fact that we should be caring about everyone, and the president is telling us, don't care about anyone, care about yourself, put yourself first. And it's this cognitive dissonance of am I crazy? Because he's contradicting the scientists, he's contradicting everyone. And it makes you feel so weird for doing the right thing and wearing a mask. And for some reason, he wants to shame people that care about others. I find that absolutely disturbing.
There are more of you than there are of him. Absolutely. There are way more people who believe what you just said than believe what he just said. So we feel upset, anxious, whatever, because someone like that who believes what he believes is president. But there's way more of us. The problem is all of us don't vote every time. So if all of us vote, that guy is a tiny footnote. Gone. If all of us don't vote and he gets a second term, then we will continue to feel that way.
Right.
Thank you so very much, Andy, for joining us and for sharing advice with people watching at home. Thanks again.
Thank you all for everything you guys do at Move On.
Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Leela. Thank you, everyone, thank you, everybody, right? Shout out to the chat. Thank you, everyone who've been here. I, for one, have had a great time in community, right? So, like, we've laughed a bit, we've cried a bit, but all in service to our goal, which is to inspire, to inform, and to, like, engage, right? So, getting out there, doing what we need to do to hold one another accountable in community to create the community that we deserve, better than what's been happening for the past 4 years. So I don't have much to say other than, Chris, thank you for allowing me to play. You know, it's always an honor to be with you, honor to be in Move On community, and also an honor to just share my talents in service to the movement. So thank you, Speaker Pelosi, Congresswoman Pressley, Senator Booker, Senator Harris, Mark Ruffalo, Andy, everyone. Thank you. I'm a bit overwhelmed at how everything went. Shout out to those of you who have been in the chat for this long. Remember to get your organizing plan together, have your vote plan, share the word, spread the word. And Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I have to say first, Reggie, thank you so much for co-hosting with me on tonight. This is, there were a couple of times here we were having too good of a time, and I'm sort of sad that it's coming to an end, but I really appreciate you coming. Tonight was a huge night. We had so many wonderful, wonderful guests, and I am just so happy that one, that we got through it, and two, that they that they graced us with their presence, and three, I am happy for all of you out there who have stuck with us. This might be your first call. You might have been on the last 2 calls with us. I am so thankful for you, and I just want to make sure that we remember that it's not just about us voting. Make sure you vote, but make sure you tag, touch, call, Slack, text, carrier pigeon, like all the things to make sure that you get your friends, the family, everybody. Like, look, okay, there's so many things. I can tell that I'm starting to get up there in age now, because I'm starting not to know what certain things are, and people are saying things to me about different ways of communicating, and I don't know what it is. So I'm going through something with that. But anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Remember that you can text POWER. Okay, I'm back there, huh? You can text POWER to 66836 to help get 3 friends to vote. It is so important. Look, we just got 9 days left. That is it. And we have time, we still have time to make sure that our voices are heard, not just ours, but our neighbors, our loved ones. Like, we're bringing people with us as we make sure we vote for change. So make sure that you come back next week for one last night before Election Day. We have a lot of great surprise guests for next week. That's going to be the last call before Election Day. So please make sure you join us. And thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us every week. And thank you again for letting me be here this week. We have one last live stream this upcoming Sunday. And again, you can RSVP at moveon.org/power in action. Bring your friends, light up the chat as you've been doing. And we'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place, same vibe.
Yes. Later.
Voting is important because everything that you hold dear, your friends, your families, your community, your dreams, everything that you expect out of this country hinges upon your voice.
It shows officials who will hold them accountable.
And show them that we matter and we demand change.
Change in the areas that need changing.
To fix what is broken and to uplift and highlight voices that aren't being heard. I consistently lean on and learn from the Black artists and friends in my life, and I feel it is especially my duty to them to vote for leaders that will recognize their rights.
It is one of the most crucial ways we can have our voices and our opinions heard and recognized.
It is the most powerful tool we have to make a difference, not only in our lives, but the lives to come.
Young voters especially, because we make up half of the voting population. Now is not the time to be still. It's not a moment to sit and watch our country suffer from environmental issues, economic issues, gender, LGBTQ, and racial inequality, among countless other issues, and do nothing about it.
Action is the ultimate confirmation of belief.
people who look like me fought and died so that we would all have the right to be able to do so. It's a tangible way to combat systematic racism by voting for elected officials who believe in equality for all people.
My ancestors fought to be a part of this democracy, to be seen as human and to have the same equal rights as everybody else.
So many people have fought and died for your right and their right to vote. So take pride in that and make sure you're exercising your right to vote at every opportunity possible.
We are democracy, not a monarchy, and we are not going back.
Continuing to vote is the only way to fight disenfranchisement and to ensure that your own individual voice, which is so important, is heard.
You might be just sitting at home thinking, oh, I already know the outcome. I don't need to vote. Enough people are going to vote anyway. But for all you know, 1,000 other people could be sitting at home thinking the exact same thing.
We might think I'm just one person. How can I really make a difference? Collectively, our vote empowers us to install people into leadership who align with our values and our vision for the country. My vote is my voice.
It's how we make our voices heard to build a better future for our country.
It's my way of holding my voice accountable. Because if I don't, there's no way I can look myself in the mirror.
We get to exercise our right and use our voice to make America a better place. I vote for my familia in Puerto Rico. I vote to end mass incarceration and police brutality. I vote to keep the arts in the schools. And I vote to get to see an America where everyone's treated equally, no matter where you come from, what your gender is, who you love, or what the color of your skin is.
It's your right as an American citizen, and you want your voice to be heard, and you can make a difference on how this country is run.
Every vote counts. It's our constitutional right. So let's change the world.
Yes, we have so far to go, but it begins with your vote.
Elections matter. Justice is on the ballot. Justice is on the ballot when 1 in 5 mothers has hungry children. Justice is on the ballot when millions of people just lost their jobs, many of whom did not have paid sick leave, paid family leave, many of whom don't have affordable childcare. Justice is on the ballot when we look at the disparities around whose children and where they're living geographically have access to broadband to be able to be educated at home, much less have a laptop. Justice is on the ballot when you look at the disproportionate number of African Americans and Latinos who have been afflicted with and have died from COVID-19. Justice is on the ballot when people in our country are struggling like they are right now. So we got to get everybody out to vote. We got to take back the Senate. We got to retain our majority in the House. And we need to win the White House and elect Joe Biden.